guys, I'm seriously ate up about the last Dr. Carey playlist. Seriously ate up, and I apologize, Empowered, and any other viewers out there. My intention is not to cause harm. I do not wish for you to throw away all of your Dr. Carey books, nor do I want you to think that he's a total sham and you shouldn't listen to the information. Not my intention at all. I'm just a messenger, and if my intentions were impure, I wouldn't be doing this video right now. I just want to give all of the information that you should have. And again, I apologize for anyone who the playlist ill affected, because honestly, when I put up the voting thing for the viewers to choose which video, overwhelmingly it was that book, the Moon book. Let me tell you an insider secret. Kathy voted not for that book. Kathy voted to go and do, I wanted to create the 13th Apostle, Judas. That's what I wanted to do. But everybody voted for this. Therefore, I did it. And I wasn't even aware until I really got into it, what the whole deal was. Or else I would have shared this information earlier. Okay, I've went on too far. Let me show exactly what I'm talking about. Please hang in there with me. All right. In part 2 of this book, timestamp 2-minute 1-second mark, we read at the 8. Now, this is the Moon Explorer. His manuscript, which Dr. Carey says that he met this person. Okay, he claims that this is a real person, and now this is Moon Explorer's story. He says that at the age of 20, he became married to a girl of 17, whose name is Endolia Fairchild. Now I'm going to stop right there and show you something. Now this is about 3 months and 2 days before that last video, and this is Transmutation by Dr. George Washington Carey, and I have it all broken up into pieces, and this piece is part 8, timestamp 37 seconds approximately. Interestingly, the video came out to be 911 emergency, which I find interesting because the very first thing that we see in my video is Endolia told me. What? Okay. Endolia told me not to think that regeneration was in any manner related to union or contact between male and female, but that each one singly and alone, quote, must work out their own salvation, end quote. And goes on to, if you've watched the video, stuff that I firmly believe is true and still do. But, Endolia is, why is Dr. George Washington Carey quoting Moon Explorer explains her as a dead spirit, an astral body, giving him information. Now here, Dr. Carey's quoting that spirit in his book, but he doesn't say anything at all about who she is or the Moon Explorer, anything. So for those of you who think that the story, the Moon Explorer story, is just as Carey wrote, I wrote it as an impossibility, meaning if you think that he just wrote that as a fiction and it was just a fake story, it doesn't make sense to me why he's quoting this in all of the other books then, right? So, I don't know how long this is going to take, but you guys, I have jumped into the rabbit hole so many different ones and gotten so much information. And again, don't throw away your Carey books. This is so difficult. Do not think that all that you've learned is all for naught. Just like I don't want you to throw away the Bible now that you realize that a man really wasn't swallowed by a fish and spit up 3 days later, and all of the other stuff. I don't want you to just go, oh no, but I want you to think with both sides of your mind. If you look far left, if you fixate your eyes on an object, now force everything to the left, you can't see anything in front of you clearly, and you can't see anything on the right of you at all. Fixate your eyes far right, you can see, everything on the right, not too much in the front of you, but nothing on the left. You need to look straight forward, use both sides, don't lean too far left, don't lean too far right, and then you'll be okay. That's all I want to do with this video. I don't want people to toss things out. I just want you to use critical thinking skills. And if you're only using the critical thinking skills and not the spiritual, higher realm thinking, which does exist, then you're not doing well either. Okay, now let me show you some proof. Oh yeah, I'm going to leave this in the description box, and I'm going to try to leave it in the comments section, but YouTube does not like my channel, deletes everybody's comments, and even the creators, my own, that I pin in the comments section. P.S. Anybody watching, there'll be one, there's always one pinned, and it gives all of the links to things and blah blah. Please let me know if you see it or not. Okay, so this is called multi-language documents. I apologize, my voice is messed up. The air quality is really, really bad, and the weather's been totally whack. This is Carey's transmutation, and on page 35, you read this. Just like I said, Endolia told me not to think, blah, 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 which is true. I mean, check mark. That is a true statement. I firmly believe regeneration's not between the male and female, but right this, I believe that. But I just want to give you reference material so you don't think that I'm messing around and just doing something. Somebody's been messing around. It's not me. Here's sections of omitted material from the book that wasn't included until afterwards. A bunch of this, I guess, is the stuff that said for postal. Well, I'll get into that. Yeah, he knew what he was talking about. Carey was a part of the postal service. But I'll regress for a second. Okay, here's the end of the book, you guys, right? He went there, full moon, didn't find him, disappeared, poof, right? Here's omitted stuff. Endolia and her spirit informed me that before Uranus passed out of Aquarius in 1921, the physical regeneration of man would be taught to children in public schools. She said that the parables and allegories of the Bible and ancient scriptures all referred to mysteries of the human body. Yes, ting, ting, ting. Wait, I'll go down. But look at this. This is what was omitted for good reason, I think, that Carey. Because look, this book didn't get published until 1924, after 24. I know it was past 21. So this prophecy, fail. That didn't. But here's what I want to show you. Well, before I go down, listen to this. This happened in 1904. That's before any of the books that Carey wrote or published. Everything's after 1900 except for the one, the cellular salt one, which makes sense because the guy's a doctor, he's a biochemist, like a course, and that had nothing to do with Jesus or this or that. It was totally a medical book. So actually, even though this book was the last to be published, it takes place before any of the other ones, I guess, were written or published. Okay, so, yeah, this stuff is good, except for 1921. No, nobody's teaching anything in the public schools about astrology and Jesus. And okay. Mary, everybody's so-called person in the record, simply impersonations of Principal, Santa Claus, Uncle Sam, John Bull. I've since verified many statements, and Moses means draw from water, fish, reach. All of this stuff is in Dr. Carey's books. This, Mount Nebo, blah, 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 the salvation, all of this is in all of his books, and this supposedly came from Endolia in her spirit body. Okay, now let's go back. Let's go back to the beginning of the book. And now, mind you, I had already, before I did this playlist, I briefly read this book. And I briefly, by meaning the very first video that you guys watched, that little 9-minute sneak peek, that's what I read. I didn't go further, only because it claimed that the moon was going to be detached in 1945 and that the earth was going to go spinning 240,000 miles out into space, and like I couldn't get past it. I was like, okay, well, clearly this is not for me, and I just stopped and I didn't read anymore. So I was unaware about Endolia when I did that playlist on Carey 3 months ago, and actually at Samantha Walding, hey Sam, she left a message in the comment section that said, who's Endolia? And I answered back at the time and said, honestly, I don't know who Endolia is. And what's funny though, if you go back and look at the comment, I write, I don't know who/what Endolia is or was. So even though I hadn't read the story yet, I was like, something's not right there. Okay, so now let's go back and find out how many facts that we can check out and how many are false, and then we can figure out what we want to do with all of this. Okay. Dr. Carey says during the summer of 1904 that he was a traveling salesman for a St. Louis pharmacy company. Okay, he says that during the summer of 1904, he was a traveling salesman for a St. Louis pharmacy company. Now, Carey was born in 1845, so he was 59 years old in the summer, if it was before his birthday in September, at this time. I've researched it, and yep, there's the Lutey's Pharmaceutical Company, and it was a part of the Homeopathic Medical College of Missouri, and it's located in St. Louis, Missouri, and definitely the time frame is okay. There's a picture of it, so it does exist, so that checks out. I checked out where he was about 6 years later after 1904, so I looked at the 1910 census. I'm telling you, I went to a lot of trouble. I went and I looked, and still very close to where he claimed to be in the previous years. It's from Cook County, where he was in 1910 in the census, to St. Louis. I mean, could still have lived there at this time and was just like working for these people. But at any rate, it's only a 4-hour drive. So, that checks out. In 1888, he is listed about 16 years before the story takes place, 1904. So in 1888, Carey was listed as postmaster So that makes sense about the couldn't put this in because of postal laws, because like he was the postmaster before this time or during this time, not sure. He was a postmaster and an agent for Dr. Jordan's medicine, and I'm not even going to touch that because I did, and what I found, it's not cool. It's associated with some quack in the late 1800s and early 1900s, selling some weird snake oil type stuff for tons and tons of money. And it's really close, right? Washington State and San Francisco. Anyway, you guys can look into that. But it also says that he had a general store and he was selling insurance at the time. So like all of this does check out for what the story's saying. It says after holding the position of postmaster for several years, he left and devoted all of his life to studying biochemistry, which makes sense because at the end of 1888, beginning of 19 is when he started doing all of his books, and he was well old at that time. I mean, what we think of as old. And, yeah, started on his way. So all of that checks out. And, okay, so he says that a business engagement, he was a traveling salesman for that pharmacy company. So he was on a business engagement that called him to Portland, Maine. So he was selling some either insurance or medicines or whatever. He says, one evening I took a trolley ride or train ride out to the government fortifications on the bay, and I wore my Grand Army button, and I was admitted even though it wasn't Visitors' Day. Okay, so let's check that out. The Harbor Defenses of Portland was the United States Army Coast Artillery Corps Harbor Defense Command. It coordinated the coast defenses of Portland, Maine, at the mouth of the Kennebec River and surrounding areas from 1895 to 1950. Now, there's several different forts, but I'm going to scroll down and show you the one that I believe that he was at, because I do believe that this is a true story. Right here. Children look on as a heavy gun is moved to Fort Williams via the South Portland's trolley tracks. There's that train, or the car, like they called it, that he was on. A better picture. You know, there it is. South Portland, Maine. The end of the 1800s, a few years before all of this, South Portland. This is Fort Williams, and I use this in my video. I actually went to a lot of trouble to try to find information. I tried to not disprove this story, because whenever you think something's wrong and you're really against it, you should try to prove it right. And I did. I did. And he said that he was allowed to come in because he was wearing his Grand Army button. So I have no idea what it was. Went and looked it up. Okay. Fraternal organization composed of veterans of the Union Army. Thank goodness for that one. I really thought the whole thing was just going to come crash and burn on me. But okay, so he's on the right side of things here. He's wearing his Union Army button for veterans or children of veterans, and I'm pretty sure that's because I don't think that he was in. I think his father was there. Okay, so look, checks out. Okay, and then he talks about meeting this Major Lincoln. Okay, now let me tell you, this guy who's on the screen is in fact a major, but he's a major general. And this is, in fact, a picture of a man called Major General Lincoln. Unfortunately, I believe that he's a Confederate, not on the Union side. But this is the picture that I used because, again, I delved deep. I tried to find every major I looked just for major, but of course I don't know if it was a major general or just a major. But at any rate, can't find any. So that's a fail on my part. I don't know. And then he goes on to say, now this is Carey talking. It was the evening of the full moon in July, and on Moon's Day too, on a Monday, eh? Here's a calendar of 1904 and all of the moon phases. Full moon on the 27th? Dude, that's a Wednesday. That's absolutely not a Monday. So, fail. And now I'm upset because I'm like, what? Why? Why? Just for dramatic purposes? I mean, I don't know, but that was like, what? Not cool. Not cool at all. I'd be okay if you said that the full moon was like, a Tuesday or a Thursday, but no, you can't be saying that it's 2.5 the full. Nope. No. Incorrect. And then we read a little bit later. After a minute or two, Major Lincoln consulted his watch and he remarked, in quotations, so this is Major Lincoln saying, we must go outside or the guards will run us in, for it will soon be 9 o'clock. Wah, wah, wah. I'm sorry. No, 2100. Indeed. I don't know any military person who would refer to taps as 9 o'clock p.m. That really struck me wrong. And I'm just thinking, okay, Kathy, well, maybe they just started using military time in the military, after 1950 or something. So still, I'm trying to disprove my stuff, but no. If we go and look, the history the history of military time dates back to the Egyptians, 2100 BC. So, okay, no, very disturbing that Major Lincoln looked at his watch and said that it was 9 p.m. I'm really, really disturbed. I'm disturbed. I even tried to get it correct with the watch that he looked at. You can see I have an Elgin up here, and I even have a late 1800s. But no, this is incorrect. 21. I'll stop. And of course they were talking about the moon, because for some reason he said that this guy, before we even hear about the moon explorer, this major, consumed with the moon himself, right? So as we walked out, he asked the major if he thought that the moon problems that they were talking about would ever be solved. And he said that he doesn't. And he seemed very, very concerned. I'm sorry for the laughter. I'm just I'm all over the place with this. So much is right and so much is wrong. He even claims that there's a guy, pioneer, blah, went to the moon. He laughs. See, this is what I find weird too. This struck me odd. So Dr. Carey laughs and says, why don't you just have this crazy man locked up because he's not right in the head? And this military guy says, just my idea. He wants the guy to be locked up and put away. I'm like, wait a second. That's nefarious sounding to me. And especially because Carey writes in here, he replied, I noticed, that he had no answering smile for my bantering. See, Carey was like, he's just crazy. Why don't you just get him locked up? La, la, la. And, he says that the military guy winced. And he was like he really wants this moon explorer dude to be locked up. Why? Why? And then he says, after a pause, he added, no, seriously, there's a mystery about this fellow that I cannot fathom. He's insane, of course. But, and then he stops and says, I want you to meet him. Okay, honestly, what? some guy comes and visits the base, the fort, and you're gonna introduce him to a crazy person? Why? Like, I'm really confused. I'm really confused with all of this. And he says that he lives in a tent house over there. Now, if you remember that Carey said they had to put on his button before he could even get into the parade grounds, like onto the inner thing. So this guy isn't on the inside. This guy is on the outside of this fort thing. And he's homeless. He's just like living in a tent. That's why they call him the tramp. He lives in the house tent, and he points over there. But listen what this military guy says. What, like, the major says, and he has made himself very useful to me in many ways, and I've been glad to have him stay. But wait a second ago, you said you really wanted him locked up, and you were serious, like, about that. In what ways has he been helpful, and why do you now want to get rid of him? Like, wah. I don't know. Oh, you guys, this story's got me ate up. Okay. So he says that his principal hobby now is to find a person who was born on his birthday, September 7th. And then it seems like to be some kind of like, oh, nuh-uh, you're born on that same day too? And I find that weird because, like, Carey didn't just only have to show his pen. I'm sure that he had to, like, show credentials, you know, like some sort of that had his stuff. I don't know. Maybe that's just me thinking too much into it. But at any rate, okay. So he tells him about the September 7th thing, right? And oh my goodness, is that a fact? Come and meet him. The moon guy hurried out. He's there at the tent. They meet each other. You look tall, slim, light, them, energy. Yeah, that's because he was born under that sign, and that's true. People with Mercury tend to look younger, stay younger looking, tend to be thinner, tend to be wiry, lanky, blah, 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 blah. That's all true. When Mercury, the Lord of our lives, he says, Lord you to this planet, don't like that. No one Lord you here. No, you're here for a purpose. So when Mercury lured you here to this planet, like all his children, a messenger of the gods, he had a mission for you to perform, and for that reason, he chose the mystic 7th to be your natal day. Okay, now this is all partially true. Because that's like the archangel energy that's there. Wherever you're born, you are really going to have like a lot of that energy to work with. You can use it for good, you can use it for bad. It could, like, if you're not in the right spot, it can overwhelm you and like make you think the opposite of something that it really is, especially Mercury. Mercury is the trickster. The trickster likes to do all of that stuff. And that's what I want to say. Take this with like a grain of salt. Yeah, Mercury, the information bringer, the messenger, doesn't mean like that all of the messages come from good places. It doesn't also mean that the messages that don't come from good places don't have valid, good material that's hidden within that you can snatch and take and whoosh, the rest of that. I don't want to really get into all of that, but yeah, so like this is all true. Where was I? Somehow we went backwards. I'm sorry. Okay. Oops, I went too far. All right. Okay. Oh yeah, I missed this part. That's why I wanted to come back. Look at this. Look, this is this major speaking again. It's in quotation. The major added, before he goes and meets this moon dude, the last car, or the last trolley, that last train car, leaves for South Portland. He said at 10. at 10 p.m. At 10 p.m. and referring to, being after taps. No, again, 2200, absolutely. 10 p.m., no, it didn't happen. And then he says to him, do you understand? I was plainly mystified and shook my head in an air of bewilderment. And then he said to me, never mind, if not now, very soon, for no son of Mercury can sleep long. Very true statement. Again, Mercury is mercurial. It's all about thought, very, very much like always. It can be good and it can be bad. And I want to say that, yeah, this guy claims that he's ruled by Mercury. Carey, like, I don't know. I don't know if this guy even exists. Again, I went and looked for death records, cemetery records, census. I can't find that guy. I can't find him. I don't know. But Carey definitely is born on September 7th and ruled by Mercury. But what I want to say is, as soon as I saw that, the Mercury within myself said, what? Oh, how true is that? No son of Mercury or daughter of Mercury can sleep very long. No, like, they're never asleep, really. They're always thinking. I was born, well, I'll go to this. Mercury in my natal chart is at home in Gemini, all safe, snug, and feeling very strong and confident. I was born on the cusp of Gemini, Cancer. So that I have my sun Mercury thing working. My rising sign is Virgo, and I'm fully into Virgo. Again, Mercury. I'm heavy laden with Mercury. And you can probably already tell by now. That's why I've dissected this thing, like, so much so far. And, yeah, very true. Lots of information come to you, but Mercury is a trickster, and you can be duped into believing things that are not true, fully true. But just be aware, like I said, there's always truth hidden inside of things that aren't true. There's always a lesson to be learned. So the guy goes into his tent, comes out, gives the manuscript to him, and there's a road to the moon, he says. Says maybe you know it, maybe you don't, but it's an actual demonstrable fact that the moon is attached to the earth by an umbilical cord. True that, but not in the way that he's saying or describing. An electrical cord that's, like, not just on one end of it shooting out and not connected. But at any rate, Earth is the uterus, the divine womb of the solar system. True that. I do believe this, because it's partially true. I'll get into it in a little bit. Divine womb. Earth is the mother of the planet, sun, soul the father. I agree. Moon is a baby planet, not yet fully born, still held by the umbilical cord. No, I believe it's reversed, like H.P. Blavatsky says. Like, true, but the moon is our leftover. It's the last Earth from our last root race. Like, we're in our 5th root race now. We have 7 to go. And the moon that we see is the 4th root race Earth, is what she said. That totally makes sense to me. And if you watch the other videos, I explain a little bit more about the moon and what it looks like and so forth. So, again, there's information in here that in theory is correct, but it's like switched. A lot of this is absolutely switched to the opposite spectrum, is what I find very interesting. And then the last part of that first video, it has Carey catching the trolley or the train, going back to his hotel, and I'm not going to show you a picture of it, but the hotel exists. There, I forget the name of it, but I went and looked, and I got pictures. Found pictures someplace. So yeah, hotel existed, and he says that his few hours from 6 to 10 p.m. That like fit the time frame works. He went out to a coffee house. got a coffee, and I guess a stick in it means that he wanted it super strong. I guess that's what that means. So there he is, and that's that. So that's me so far, discrediting either the major's lying, or Carey is just fabricating to make the story sound better or more appeasing, putting in different times for military times, or especially the moon. Like the moon, like why the lie about that? Or did the editor, did the publisher? I don't know. But I just know that there's too many things that are correct, and then a lot of things are absolutely not. So, yeah, I'll get into the next portion. Now let me go to the Moon Explorer and get into him. Okay, so Dr. Carey opens up the manuscript, and the first thing he sees is an illustration that's there, and there was a mountain, and it was labeled, quote, the umbilical cord from Mother Earth's child moon, end quote. And then we get to, at the age of 20, he became engaged to be married to a girl of 17 whose parents resided in Virginia, and her name was Endolia Fairchilds. I'm going to stop there because I went on such a deep dive trying to find anyone with Fairchilds in Virginia dying, down in New Orleans, or just Endolia, and no Endolia Fairchilds. Nothing is coming up. Here, I'll show you. I will show you what I pulled up just for Endolia. That's it, and born around the same time, sometime in the 1800s. None of the dates work out, and none of them are in the United States whatsoever. Okay, so while I was there, I'll just jump ahead because in the story he gives his name. The Moon Explorer says that his name is Nathan Boswell, and he just told you how old he was during that time period. So in the very beginning, I thought that this man did not exist until I kept searching, and I certainly believe he exists. And look what I found. This is the Maryland and Delaware records, Freedmen records, from 1865 to 1872. And we see right here, Boswell, Nathan A., infantry number 19, and lives at 257 Montgomery Street. Where? In Baltimore, Maryland. I'm going to show you in a second, and we'll refresh your memory. That's where he was working in the grocery store at the time, he says. But so he's in the military and receiving some kind of a pension, and now the story is making more sense to me. Now it's making more sense to me. Those records I showed you were from the Freedmen's Bureau. In the following years after the Civil War, the Bureau of Refugees, freedmen, and abandoned lands provided assistance to tens of thousands of former slaves and impoverished whites in the southern states of the District of Columbia. So now again, making more sense why the major called him a tramp and had him living on the outskirt. Like now it's making more sense to me. Yeah, so this makes more sense. Nathan Boswell. Civil War and later pensions index. Nathan, it says Baswell. But there it is, the Regiment 19, colored infantry. I'm pretty sure that's, I could be wrong, but super, super close, and makes a lot more sense why he was there. And then also, yeah, that's probably what Endolia looked like, not what I had. Oh, no, that picture's not blown up enough. Or maybe that's what Endolia looked like. And maybe that's the reason why we can't find any information on her whatsoever. And the only reason that we're finding information on Nathan is because of the military thing. Again, this is all just like my own speculation. But where did Dr. Carey say that he was going? He was going to a fortifications spot. The Union officers hired people to construct fortresses and other fortifications in the regions, and most of the freedmen, the slaves, are the ones who came in and did a lot of the work and were abused and misused in the process. So again, now this story is making a lot more sense to me why the major or major general was speaking about this guy in this way. Okay, so back to my story. Yeah, and I don't think that that's a good depiction of Endolia's family, to be honest, now, in retrospect. Okay, but we'll go on. So, in the summer of 1884, they visited New Orleans all together as a family. Yellow fever broke out while they were there, and she passes away. Now, that's a factual statement as well. During that time, 1884, yes, yellow fever was breaking out all over New Orleans. So that's a fact. He says, I was at the time a clerk in a wholesale grocery store in Baltimore, Maryland. Yep, that's exactly where those records I showed you came from. 12 o'clock that night, he finished writing a letter, and I guess he very much loved her, and they were connected for her to be able, for him to be feeling the way that he was, because he really didn't want to go. Plus, yellow fever was like all over the place, but at any rate, he was upset. Okay, so about 4 a.m., he wakes up, and he hears a voice calling his name, Nate, and his name is Nathan. He hasn't really said that yet, I don't think, until later. The voice repeated several times until he realized that that voice was Endolia. I want to stop right here and say, between 3 and 5, 3 and 6, those last hours right before you wake up in the morning before the sun comes up, yep, very, very energetically powerful time to receive all sorts of messages. And what he's claiming here is that his dead fiancée, who I'm sure he loved very, very much, he just said that he didn't, even want her going, and, didn't even want to send the letter because, deep down inside, he, already knew. So, very emotionally attached to her, she dies, and then that same evening, a couple hours later, she's speaking to him. Look, guys, that's no. That's a bad one. You do not want to mess with that. That's the same story as Jesus dying, and then, hours later he's out walking around and talking to people and teaching them stuff. Be wary. Be very, very, very wary of that. Not saying that the information that he was getting is not wholly true, but I'm sure that in the Bible, I don't know where exactly, but it makes reference to even Satan himself knowing the scriptures and knowing all of the stuff. Yeah, because that's your mind. Your mind does know all of that. So, like I said, he's speaking to an astral, and he's speaking to the astral shell right now of his passed away fiancé, love of his life. That's who he's speaking to. And because
the voice came out and spoke to him and he replied, it meant that he was like willing to interact. Okay, so it continues. So this voice, I don't want to say she, because it's just a shell, like an astral energy it needs to be burned off. Okay, so it says, I passed from Earth life, and you're not going to see me again until you join me at the South Pole on your journey to Moon. And then gives them instruction and says, go to the South Pole and you're going to make a discovery, and I'm going to guide you to the womb of the earth and show you all kinds of really cool stuff. Now, like, again, he's not talking with something that is, in my opinion, good whatsoever, because it's like the residual leftover thoughts, memories, emotions of that girl's physical being. It's not going to last. It's going to burn off, that astral thing. And her higher self, the part of us that does not ever die, her Atma, Manas Buddhi Manas, that is already in Devachan, Devakan, whatever you want to call it. So this guy right now, because of his emotional state, and because astral beings, they're the strongest right after they've departed, yeah, that's what's going on here. Oh, not good. Not good. Psychics and mediums talking to people, not good. She says that you'll be instructed to the rate, instructed in the process of transmuting matter from the third dimensional motion to the fourth dimensional rate, and you'll be able to visit the moon. And when I read that, I'm like, yeah, like you're in the 3D. She was in the 3D in the bodily form, and now she's separated off because her physical form has died, like it's everything is supposed to, and that fourth dimensional being that's out there that nobody can really see unless you're in tuned with, that's what she was rolling in. She was rolling in her astral energies. And the thing is, it might not have even been her. It might have been another person who passed away at the same time and is using that energy source because Nathan is accepting and saying, I'll receive it. I mean, a voice comes out and says, hey, do this thing. And like, oh, okay, I'll listen and follow you. Like, be careful. Be careful. You'll then return and you're going to find one born on the same mystic day as yourself who will publish all the facts about this great discovery that's going to revolutionize the world of science. After which you transmute your physical body into a spiritual and join me. Yeah, true, when he dies, yep, his physical's going to go, the astral's going to depart, but it's going to hang out in this lower realm, everything that we can see. The earth, the planets, everything in between there and here, that's where that's going to hang out until it's burnt off, and a new one of you is reincarnated in the next, and whatever didn't properly get burned off, that's going to come back into your life, into the next incarnation. But I don't want to get too far off of this. Okay, I want to stop though for a second and say, we know now that Dr. Carey's writing this book, and we know that his birthday is September the 7th because we heard the Major and him talking about it. We know that this Moon Explorer guy is the same day, and I have to stop and say, if Dr. Carey wrote this book as just a pure fiction and has no whatever, well, boy, he was being pretty not humble there, writing a book saying that he was born on a super special day under a super special sign, and that he was going to revolutionize the world of science. Like, if he is making up this story and saying these things about himself, that's pretty like, I don't know. It's just, that's a bit much. Okay, so I don't think so. I don't think that this is a made-up story. I think this is an actual story. Though I think some things have been tweaked here and there. Clearly, some things are way wrong. He claims on the shore of the Weddell Sea, here's the Weddell Sea right here. So, somewhere right here, he says, South Pole, latitude 73 degrees, 20 minutes south, longitude 146 degrees east. He records these facts. And you know that we're going to go and check out that and see what exactly where that is, right? Yeah. I'm going to do this with you so that you see that I'm not like messing and pulling no funny stuff. It took me a while to figure out how to write the coordinates for the GPS, but there it is. It's 73, 20 minutes, 146 south and east. So we click that. And look at that. Actually comes out. Look at all those threes, you guys. And it just so happens to be 7 threes. Yeah, it does. But that's where it is. That's the location. And then we'll go over here where I've blown it up. And we'll see. It's approximately right in this area. Right here. Now, let's go back to where he said he was. He said he's over here. Where I just pointed to was in this ice shelf, in the Ross ice shelf. Right in here. Not too terribly far from this Mount Erebus, which is a huge volcano, which is very, very, very tall and very large. But no, he says that he's over here in this ice shelf on the shores of the Weddell Sea. But in fact, the coordinates say that he's just almost directly opposite on the other side here. So, big fail. That volcano's pretty darn tall and looks like it fades right out into the clouds. Mount Erebus is an active volcano and the second highest in Antarctica after Mount Sidley, and the southernmost active volcano on Earth. And some of the inactive volcanoes around there are Mount Terror, Mount Bird, and Mount Terra Nova. Okay, rabbit hole alert, rabbit hole warning. We're not going there, but I'm just going to show you this. Ooh, the highest volcano in Antarctica is a member of the volcanic Seven Summits, and the highest one is Mount Sidley, and it was discovered by Admiral Byrd. So anybody who knows anything about all of the conspiracy theories about Antarctica, there's the hole. There's the hole for you. But yeah, this is located where this guy gave his input here, but it's not where he says that it is. He says that he's here, but he's here. And yeah, there's bases all set up here. So I'm not going down in this hole, you guys. I'm not. And I mean, the story is already takes place at a fortifications area for the Army quite some time ago. I'm just not going to get into all of that, but just wanted to show you that this portion's definitely a fail.
Now, he didn't say it was a volcano, but that was all that was around his concordance. Now, if you wanted, that was the highest volcano. Now, the highest mountain is actually over there around the Weddell Sea. That's in the Ron or Ronnie ice shelf, and that's where he said that he was at. Now, that's Vinson Massif, and it's 13 miles long and 8 miles wide. So, like, it's a big one, but, yeah, like, all of the concordance messed up, and I'm not going to go down into some crazy hole. I just wanted to show you the proof that, yeah, all messed up, guys. All messed up. One last little peek. He was, like, right in here somewhere. And if you blow this up, right here is that where the volcanoes and the mountains. He's someplace up on the edge, up here in the shelf. Okay, done with that. Okay. Sorry, let me move this up some. And now, after a wonderful journey, he says, poof, I'm here at the umbilical cord of the moon. And I just wonder, because, like, all of this occurred in 1884. She died in the summer of 1884, and before 1884 was over, so, you know, you got less than 6 months there. He somehow traveled to, well, I mean, this is what it says. He somehow traveled from Baltimore, Maryland, being a clerk, in a store to Antarctica. Okay. So he says, here I am. I'm here now, and Dolia's spirit is with me and guides me on my way to the moon. And then here's where we see 2 paragraphs omitted here, and for good reason. That is Carey, and I don't know what that portion that he deleted was. Who knows? Maybe it was super cray. I don't know. I don't know. So many things here I don't know about this book. Let no one dare to penetrate the Holy of Holies until he fully realizes the sacredness of motherhood. Like, amen, amen to all of that. I stand in the holy presence of the divine creative mother principle and write that which Earth's inhabitants must finally know. They're going to reject and scoff until it happens in 1945. And again, like, this is why I didn't read into this or jump into it months ago when I first read it. I just stopped because I was like, okay, well, like, my mom was born 2 years later, and I don't think that, I don't think anything happened. So, all right. 1944 is going to break. That didn't happen, so I'm giving that one a fail. I admitted to the sacred region during like I said, it took him 6 months somehow to get from Baltimore to the Antarctic. And he was fitted for the ordeal by the teachings of Indolia, who can, check this out now, appear in material garb and then disappear at will. Coefficiency of refraction. Yes, sir, I'm going to agree with all of that. Yes, it can. Absolutely. Just don't know if I would trust her wholly, or it wholly. Those who care to study yeah, you know what? I wouldn't. I mean, you can go and check out scientific romances, but I don't like his theory and the people who he followed and so I'm not down with him, but you can check him out if you want to. My teacher instructed me in the midst of the birth of planets. All planets are born sexual union of the sun and the earth. I believe that. Again, H.P. Blavatsky. I've already went over this several times and have videos. I'll link those in the description box as well. And then here again, Carey says, here I omit several sentences on account of postal laws, although the world ought to know what they disclose. Yeah, because we learned earlier that he was like the postmaster general or something for Washington State, I believe is what it said. So he knew whatever. Something that was in there,
I don't know, but we did get to read some of the omitted stuff, and we did hear that it said, and Dolia said in 1921 that all of this, like the stuff on my channel, is all going to be in public schools, and everybody's going to learn about it. So maybe that's why he omitted some of that. Okay. Vibrations of the highly vitalized and spiritualized essence of the sun's rays upon the inner surface of the vast matrix that constitutes the unknown region of the so-called South Pole impregnates the mother substance, concentrating there, and a fetus is generated. I'm gonna say false to that one. In this realm, yeah, what I can say is in that area, most definitely there's a very high energetic thing that's happening there, and I'll just leave that. I'll just leave that with that. For 26,000 years, baby planet nourished by the womb, and then the cataclysmal shock in 1945 didn't happen. We get tossed out 240,000 miles, and nope, that didn't happen. So, and Dolia, you little astral booger, you. And then it breaks off until another. Between 1940 and 1945 is when it's supposed to happen. And then it says, then the planet that will govern the constellation of Aries, like, I don't even get that. I can't even delve into that. I have no idea what that's trying to say. My teacher conducted me to Moon. We ascended the umbilical mountain, the navel of Mother Earth, by means of a car constructed of semi-transparent material. Okay, look, you guys, you know what's on the screen? That is an actual photograph of near the South Pole. Not where he says that he went, but that's a picture of, I think it's, I can't remember the name right now, but it's the highest mountain that's in Antarctica. So, yeah, it's not where he was, though. And then they talk about specific gravity and how nobody can explain it, but this is really good, especially for the story. Yeah, that's a really good explanation. Thanks, Webster's Merriam Dictionary. Coefficient, yeah, this is really good too. This is a good one. I agree with all of this too about the substance containing, higher concentrations of different planetary energy. I totally agree. I totally agree with that too. I do. We ascended up about 50 miles and the substance of the mountain disappeared, and it was all air. You know what? No, the mountain is only about 3 miles high, that mountain that I showed you. There's nowhere near a mountain anywhere near Antarctica on the South Pole that's 50 miles in height. So, nope. And Dolly explained that while I was changed in the coefficiency of refraction regarding to muscle and bone, I still had earth density in relation to brain and nerves, which was necessary so long as I was going to return and dwell among men for a while. Indeed, here's what I want to say is happening right now. He's astral, this whole thing, he's astral projecting. This man didn't go anywhere from Baltimore, Maryland, and travel and get there in 6 months. No, that didn't happen. Almost, I can't say with surety 100%, but I'm going to go really far and say 98%. No, this is a story of astral projection, is what it is. And we do that, if any of us dream, we do that every evening when we sleep. And I do it all of the time. You go out into the astral, it's all of the thoughts and the feelings and the emotions and memories of all of the people, past and present, of the earth, well, at least of the last root race. I'm all of the root races, but heavily the last root race. But yeah, we all do this, like this moon explorer. we all go astral surfing if we dream, and some of us dream a lot more than others. I do. So that's what I think is happening here with him, to be honest. I lost all idea of time, and as soon as we entered upon the level, that was a transparent road appeared, but my teacher told me that we were only 12 hours. Yeah, 12 hours. He was sleeping. He went into a deep sleep and was astral projecting and dreaming a whole bunch. But it gets kind of sketchy because it says moon is inhabited by the spirits of, quote, just men made perfect, end quote, who have passed from Earth since the birth of the moon. No. That's not where perfect people, spirits who have died on the Earth go and experience. No, it's not. That's a trap. It is a trap. These souls remain and are carried to the planetary angle of Aries, there to develop into moon beings, which again, I don't get the moon and the Aries and the stuff. I really, not the great year, not in the great well far, where, Aquarius, great year. I don't understand the Aries thing, except for like Aries is, it's like war and fighting, and it also has to do a lot about your personality and who you are, and like that makes sense to me because the moon, in my opinion, is leftover from our past selves, our past incarnations and lives and stuff, and the earth, it's like it's reflecting. When we look at the moon, it's reflecting the earth, literally, and then also, in a spiritual past sense, all of your past stuff, like, not, I have trouble explaining exactly what I mean, but okay, so develop there into moon beings and other souls developed on Mars, Jupiter. Like, yeah, I agree with that, germs of vegetation everywhere, but like Earth is the only one that has thinking like men, because it's like I can't get into this. Maybe I'll make another video because it's way too long already. Let me just stop, take a breath. I just don't want anybody falling into this trap. Please don't throw your energies out to hoping when you die you go to the moon. Don't do it. Oh, okay. The dark side of the moon, says Indoli, a little astral booger again. The dark side of the moon that's not seen is a paradise of light and beauty and nirvana. Well, yeah, the other side, we can't see it because it's on the other side of that orbit. And what's on the other side of the moon? What's over there? What's to that from us? What do we have? We have us, we have the moon, we have Venus, and we have Mercury, and then the sun. Yeah, lots of light. Actually, tons of light on the other side of the moon. Okay. It's a paradise of light and beauty, the nirvana of departed Earth souls, that is, who have been departed since birth of the moon. When I asked how Earth would be lighted at night after the moon departed, she answered, Earth will be lighted at night until another planet is born, and just like it's lit before with the stars and the planet, i.e. the sun, Mercury, and Venus. Earth remains in perfect equilibrium until the departure. Okay, no, that didn't happen. Like, in a physical sense, again, I don't want people to not, oh, this is so difficult, to not believe these things, because half of this is true, but it's not true. Well, it's true, but it's covered up in a whole bunch of stuff and flipped upside down is what it is. If this is a story of speaking mentally, like, as a human race, sure, I can get down with, like, stuff was, it's very late, it's not working too well, but, like, it definitely didn't physically happen. Their stay there is principally a condition of nirvana or rest. True, again, I'm gonna agree, the astral body, like, well, not really rest, and not, it's not rest, but they may think that it's because they're like walking around and they don't have the regular, or have to go to work or do whatever. Again, really difficult to explain, but no, this astral form is trying to say that when you die, that Devachan, or heaven, is on the moon, and that's where you go and you wait until another incarnation in a new life. No, well, I can't say anything 100%, but 99.89%, I'm going to say, please don't wish when you die for your higher being to go to any planet or any star, or don't do that. Like, I don't know. To me, it kind of like, you know how people have those near-death experiences, and they say that everything was all dark, but then suddenly they see a bright light, and they go towards it, and it gets brighter. The only thing that is very, very bright in the black night sky, you go towards it, it's the moon. So I really think that, I do believe that the astral essences hang out in between the moon and the earth, and like that's how they're able to take form, and images of people who and you've seen in real life. I think that that's how it's possible. That's what I mean. Like, don't discount all of this information. Use your female brain to accept that these things do exist, and things do work in that kind of a manner, but use your left brain and say, like, I know how far to go with this, and when to stop with the woo-woo and the crazy. These teachers are now inspiring all advanced thinkers who will write and talk for peace, brotherhood, and cooperation, or cooperative of the Commonwealth. Let me also just stick in here. I'm not going to say that all of energies that come from, like, you do, there's, I believe that there's some good that's there. Just like, that's not the place, though, that you want to go. Like, there's good in everything. So don't take it as it's wholly bad. In ancient times, yep, that's true, was known as a serpent because of that. Yep, that's check mark, works out. In Matthew, the drunken man, yep, that's the solar system, how it moves, so I agree with it, just not the shaking of the moon snapping away. Solar system swings. Okay, and now here, yeah, I don't understand this Scorpio thing that is said. Like, I get I get that we're talking about the outer wheel of the wheel within the wheels, the great year going backwards, because we had Aries, the lambs, and then we had the bull. We had the bull, and then we had Aries, and then we had Pisces, the fish, and now everybody mostly agrees that we're somewhere either just starting Aquarius or have been since 19. That's what these people say in these books too. So I don't understand what this is about. I don't understand. It entered Aquarius 1900. Okay, yeah, we'll say that. And it has to pass through Capricorn, Sagittarius, and until it gets to Scorpio. Like, I get it's the outer wheel of the great, so we're going backwards. That makes sense to me. And like, yeah, that's all in order. But what in Scorpio? I don't like, that's, yeah, it is regenerative, but that's like on the physical plane. Like, I really think this is like trap type material. is what I mean. All right. Oh, this video is so long. I apologize, you guys, but I hope that it was worth it. Christ child born among planets. Sure, a new planet could, like, I'm pretty sure that there's bunches of stuff that we just can't see, or behind stuff in orbit with things, and I'm sure eventually, yeah, we will see another planet and be able to see it and blah, 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 blah. But, it didn't happen in 1945. Earthquakes, spasms, blah, blah, didn't happen. Didn't happen. And only the pure at heart will survive? No. Didn't happen. It's going to reach the throes during 1916. Physically didn't happen, but I'm going to get into this. It's going to be a really long video. The reason that all of this happened during this time period in the 1800s through the mid-1900s, there's a reason that everybody's going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, if you will, and people are getting valid spiritual information that is true. It's because at the time they were leaving the Pisces and entering into the Aquarius, and Pisces is all either illusions, delusions, or illumination. It depends on where you are or where you want to be. So that's what's happening with all of this. Yeah, and I guess I'll stop for a second and say maybe you guys should check out. I did a video that said 2020 illusion, delusion. It's something like that. I'll leave the link. I'll pop it up right now, up in the right hand corner, so that you can see the time mark and go back and look at it. But before I even got into any of this or realized, I realized that we were in the middle of, not the great year flood just coming out of it and going into Aquarius, but on our inner circle, we were going through a flood, which happens every 150 years. We're going through it right now. 2020 is like the middle of it or 3/4 of it, and that's why everybody is going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs now over everything. So all of this makes sense. And the last time that it was like it is right now that we're going through, it's a 13-year stretch, was 1858. Yeah, because it takes 150 years. I think that my math is right. I'll put it on the screen if I'm not. But anyway, 1858, yup, right in the middle of all of the seance stuff, the speaking to spirit stuff, people like, losing their minds, saying that the devil was running around. Yup, because everyone was experiencing a flood at the time. And back then, even more so than now, because they were in a great year and they were in the actual, cycle, the outer wheel and the inner wheel. But my goodness, that's why all of this is happening. That's why all this is happening then and now. And there, the manuscript ended late in December 1904. Carey says that he went back to Portland, Maine, and he went and called the military barracks to see if he could find, I don't know who that Lincoln guy is, I'm not even going to try, and asked if Moon Explorer was around. And the guy said, the guy who wanted to get rid of him and hoped that he could get locked away, but he found really helpful and called him a tramp and a bum and a vagrant. The major informed Carey that the tramp had disappeared on his birthday, September 7th, in 1904. So right after he gave Carey this manuscript, this dude disappears, and it says, and that was on the night of the full moon. Do you guys want to guess if it really was a full moon on September the 7th, 1904? I'll show you anyway. Yep, there it is. Not September the 7th. No, it wasn't. The full moon was Saturday, September the 24th, 1904. So I don't know what people's lying about this stuff. I don't. The stories just got me like... So I guess the moral of my message, my story here that I'm trying to get across,
is don't believe everything, but don't shut your mind off to everything. That story has a bunch of valid information, and like I showed you in the beginning, like I thoroughly believe in the cellular salt. I do it myself, and from experience, like I know things. Many of the things that, quote, Endolia said in those things about the Bible and the scriptures, and like a lot of that stuff, when I first started, we'll just say, quote, started to wake up, these things came to me in my own mind, in my own mind's eye, before I ever heard anybody or read anybody's interpretation of anything. I got these things myself, many of them, like, yep, right in line with everything that these people are teaching. So, like, it's good. There is good information. I just want everybody to be careful how much information you believe, know when to lean some one way and when to lean the other way. You don't want to be completely linear and analytical and just shut off everything, because true enough, yeah, we do have different, we have a physical body, we have an astral body, we have an etheric body. Reincarnation, yes, does exist. There are external energies that are at work. Like, all of this stuff is, you do need to understand this. Everything that's in the Bible, all of that stuff that says, or all of the stories, you do need to know that stuff. That's all about your body. That's all about the solar system. It's all about cycles. It's all about all of that. You need this. So, just like I said in the beginning, I wouldn't suggest anyone throwing away any holy text books and scriptures and things. No. Even though they've been manipulated and there's lies and things have been changed and tweaked, here and there. Honestly, if you are working out of a pure space, you'll be led properly. And if you're not wholly coming from a pure space, you're going to be led astray. But being led astray is supposed to allow you to come to your own realization and then change it yourself. Like, there's no forced action going on, and everything is for a purpose. I don't want anybody to throw away their Dr. Carey books. Please don't. All of that information that I've put out thus far, I believe every bit of it. I just don't believe, like, these portions of it. So don't throw away your books. Don't have to reevaluate things. Just, everything's for a purpose. Everything's for a purpose. I don't want anybody like bailing ship now because of this one thing. And I feel I had an emotional breakdown over it on my porch. I was like, oh my goodness, at Empowered, I ruined your bath time and you were that close to throwing away all of your Carey books. I was too, honey. When I first read, I was like, what? Lies. But I felt the same way about the Bible when I was indoctrinated heavily. So I know as much as I do about the Bible. I'm happy about it. But like when I first came to the realization, I felt like that too. I was like, lies, bad Bible. Paul, for goodness gracious, Paul in the Bible, when I was all Christianized, I was like, yay, Paul. And then I started to come out of it and I was like, what? Oh, boo hiss, Paul. And then I came back around to, oh, Paul. Okay, you're back in. So, you'll vacillate up and down, but everything's for a reason. It's so that you feel confident and you're strong. You don't have to do it again in the next incarnation. So don't throw away any books and don't have any kind of meltdowns. I love you. I'm honestly just the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger, please. All right, that's it for this incredibly long video. What do you say, you guys? Can I go ahead and do the 13th apostle? Can we do Judas now and get out of all of this? I think that it would be a good idea. I think that, yes, I think I am going to do that no matter what. Please like the video. Subscribe if you haven't, I guess, question mark. Click the bell. Leave comments. I don't know if they'll show up or not. You guys, like, mine don't show up because, like, I leave links for all of the work that I do, and I want to show you that, like, I'm not lying. So I leave you external links, and YouTube deletes my own link, creator links that I pin in the comments section. So I don't know. I don't know if your comments will show up or not, but, you know, just try, I guess. If you need something important, leave it on the community tab on the main channel section. That seems to get through. Yeah, that's it, you guys. I love you. Bye. Oh, love yourselves and love each other unconditionally. I don't think I said that. Okay.